Chapter 35, Food Deduction. Outside the convention center, a man dressed in military attire arrived, looking weary from his journey. Two guards at the gate quickly stood at attention and saluted him. The man returned the salute and spoke in a solemn voice, "Are the survivors ready to enter the city?" "Yes." Both guards nodded. One of them turned and headed towards the hall, while the other informed the other soldiers upstairs about the situation. A soldier from the ground floor walked to the center of the hall and raised his voice, "Please tidy up. Later, follow the instructions to enter the safe zone. Remember not to crowd or run around." "Can we enter the safe zone now?" "Hahaha, I knew the authorities wouldn't abandon us." "Exactly. Look at all the rumors you spread before. How could the authorities not care about us? So many people died outside the safe zone, they could drown in all that spit." The crowd was filled with joy. But there were also people crying softly, and others were seething with anger. "Why didn't you come earlier? Why didn't you come earlier? My family wouldn't have died if you had. My whole family is dead. My sister was just eaten by insects." The soldier sighed inwardly, but still reminded in a serious tone, "Please tidy up. Later, follow the instructions to enter the safe zone. Remember not to crowd or run around." Finally, he added, "This is the only opportunity. Take care, everyone." The soldier turned and walked away. The others picked up their belongings and followed him. Zhang Ran and the others quietly joined the group. The soldiers outside the convention center escorted the crowd towards the distant steel wall that surrounded the safe zone. As they got closer to the safe zone, even though the outside world was in ruins, the mood of the crowd couldn't help but lighten. They all imagined a peaceful and stable life once they entered the safe zone. Soon, the procession reached the wall and walked a distance along it. In front of them was a massive iron gate, the entrance to the safe zone. Looking at the layout of the surrounding buildings, Ji Qingcheng whispered, "Isn't this the same route we took here before? So, we were deliberately led to other places earlier." Zhang Ran cautioned, "When you're on someone else's turf, be cautious with your words and actions. It's easy to stir up trouble." "Got it." Ji Qingcheng nodded and glanced at the nearby soldiers. They were quite far from Zhang Ran and her group, so he relaxed and followed the procession silently. Before long, the procession came to a halt. The guards stationed at the gate began inspecting the evacuees. Someone with a loudspeaker shouted, "Please cooperate with the inspection. This is to prevent anyone from carrying insect eggs or viruses." As the line moved forward slowly, some individuals started complaining. A young man handed over his bag to a guard for inspection, while another soldier searched him roughly. The young man was displeased but held back. He understood that such checks were normal, but he didn't express his frustration until he received his bag back and found some of his food missing. "Why is there less food in my bag? Are you going to deduct food during the inspection too?" The soldier inspecting him angrily shoved the young man, retorting, "Don't falsely accuse others. Who stole your stuff? You poor migrants barely have any food to begin with. What's the matter? Do you expect the safe zone to compensate you for food?" The young man had a temper, and when his food was tampered with, he pushed back with force. He even pushed the inspector to the ground, angrily accusing, "You stole our stuff, and you won't admit it. Are you daring to push me?" The fallen soldier was infuriated. The soldiers around them immediately pointed their guns at the young man. The situation was escalating rapidly, and they hadn't even entered the safe zone yet. But those who had undergone the inspection stepped forward to support the young man's claims. "They really are deducting food from us. The food in our bags is missing. And they're biased when they inspect. If you're a girl, they take away 70 to 80% of your food. If you're a guy, they leave you with half. A girl cried out, I had only a little food, and they took it all. How can I survive? Another girl exclaimed angrily, and they take advantage of the situation to touch us girls inappropriately. As people in the front voiced their support, those at the back also grew discontented. The crowd became increasingly agitated and started voicing their grievances, but no one dared to take the lead. Ji Qingcheng didn't want his food plundered either. He didn't have much to begin with. So, he lowered his voice and shouted, Is this your decision, or is it from the safe zone? Are we risking our lives to come this far just to be exploited by you? Once someone took the lead, others joined in, accusing and berating the soldiers. Yeah, you're doing such things. Do the higher UPS know about it? We risked our lives to come here, and now we're being squeezed by you. Do you really think we common people are so easy to bully? Who made this decision? If they have the guts, let them come out and face us common people in a debate. Seeing the crowd getting more and more worked up, and even starting to become confrontational, the soldier inspecting them grew flustered. He shouted, What are you arguing about? Don't want to enter the safe zone? If you don't want to enter, then get the hell out of here. The safe zone doesn't welcome you. Hearing this, some people were indeed frightened. They had come a long way just to enter the safe zone, and they were willing to accept some loss of food. So, is this safe zone solely under your jurisdiction? At that moment, a deep and resonant voice rang out from behind. Zhang Ran immediately became cautious, discreetly positioning herself behind the Ji Qingcheng brothers to shield herself. The soldiers turned their gaze in that direction, and their attention was drawn to a calm middle-aged man accompanied by an imposing figure of a man who stood out. Sensing the oppressive gaze of the middle-aged man, the soldier in charge of inspection unconsciously averted his gaze and took a couple of steps back, retreating to his companion's side. I never said such things. Don't falsely accuse me, the middle-aged man said with a clear desire to avoid prolonged confrontation or conflict. His expression suddenly softened, and he smiled gently. Please let us into the city. The longer we delay here, the greater the risk to the safe zone. The mutant insects from last night probably haven't been completely eliminated yet. The crowd hurriedly agreed, Yes, let us in. Another soldier stepped forward, wanting to defuse the situation. He smiled apologetically, Please enter. I will be conducting the inspection from now on. My brother speaks straightforwardly, so please don't take offense. He signaled to his companion, who replaced the previous inspector and began checking the evacuees. After this commotion, the inspection process went by quickly. It was simpler and there was no deduction of food. The inspector also refrained from touching the girls in appropriately.